really begins. You and I were on the air approximately 5:30 Eastern Time. We get the first official imagery, and since there's no stopping the web, people do their own deep dive into facts and images. People who find these two familiar have their own theories. Around late local news, East Coast, we start getting reports that there had been a shooting on the campus of MIT. By the time a lot of folks went to bed, the first reports were not connected. We have no reason to believe it's connected, but then this story started to gallop overnight. So take us through the twists and turns, if you will.
Right, and the interesting thing is that the precipitating event for all of this is not an action by the FBI or the police. They were not about to arrest these two. They were certainly aware of them. Whether they had decided that the names that they had were in fact the marathon bombers, matching up names they had with these faces, is a little unclear at this point. But it was not a law enforcement operation that was the spark that led to this situation that we have. Instead, these two men either did or didn't rob a 7-Eleven. That's a little unclear now. The police originally said that, but there's some reason now to think that may not have happened. But in any event, they did encounter a campus policeman at MIT and shot him in the head in his patrol car. Then they carjacked a man who was in the Cambridge area. They got in the car with him, held him at gunpoint, and started to drive another 4 miles from Cambridge to Watertown. During the drive, they stopped 3 times to use the car owner's debit card to try to get some cash. The first time it didn't work because they entered the wrong PIN number. The second time they got $800, and the third time they couldn't get any more money because that exceeded the limit. So they stopped at a gas station and let him out of the car, but before letting him out, they said, by the way, we just killed a campus policeman in Cambridge, and we are the Boston Marathon Bombers. And then they drove on to Watertown, and the police are now chasing them, and they're throwing explosives, according to police, out of the car window. And they get to Watertown, the police surround the vehicle, the older brother, gets out. His name is Tamerlan Zarnev. He gets out. Police say he is wearing explosives strapped to his chest. He is shot several times by police and killed. His brother makes a run for it in the car, in the process driving over his brother, who has now been shot and lays dying on the street. He gets away from police and at some point abandons the car and runs on foot. And he may or may not have been wounded in that hail of gunfire when the brother got out with the explosive strapped to his chest. I say he may have been wounded because the police have found some blood as they've been trying to find him. So that brings us up to date. They've been trying to find the brother now, the one that the FBI described as wearing the white hat, the person who they have video of that they did not release, planting the second bomb at the marathon, near the marathon finish line. So that's brought us up to date. Now, Brian, the other thing is another bomb was found this morning in Boston, in the Charles Gate area of the city. The police found it and disposed of it safely, but you have one of the known bombers at large. They're still not sure where he is. You have the possibility, that's the way it's being described to me now, the possibility that either they had accomplices or perhaps other people who were aware of what they were doing with the marathon bomb plot who could be at large. And for all those reasons, you have this really incredible lockdown of a major American city while the police try to get their arms around what is happening and find the one person that they do know was responsible for the marathon bombing.
Now, Pete, what do we know about motivation? What is it that, to coin a phrase, weaponized these two guys?
Well, that's something that's being looked at very thoroughly right now, and we certainly don't have the answers to that. There's some indication that what we know, for example, that these two brothers came with their family to the U.S. They've been here for a decade. The family sought asylum. The father was a government employee in Kyrgyzstan. They're ethnic Chechens. They came to the United States in early 2003. And they've been living in the Cambridge area ever since. The father recently went back to Russia. And they, you talk to friends of theirs who have known them, they describe them as happy people. We've heard this storyline so many times. And then you start to look at some of their internet postings where they begin to express distaste for some aspects of American culture. We know that at least one of them traveled overseas last year, went to Russia, and where he was for 6 months we don't know. One of the people we talked to this morning described them as having military training. Well, they're certainly the one they're trying to find is far too young for that. He's only 19 years old. He came to this country in 10 years ago when he was, when he was 9 years old. So obviously he had no military experience before he got here. And we don't believe there's any indication that he served in the American military. So, that's, I think, the big question now. Now, I guess you could say, for the Boston Marathon bombing, we now know who, and we still don't know why.
All right, Pete Williams, thank you for that reset. We're going to be doing that throughout the day. There are so many.